At this point in your life, what do you think the biggest lie you've ever been told is?
That I needed to be an independent woman.
Go into it. Talk about it. Okay, 40 by Nature. We're here with Kiana McGee. I call her Keyz. She's like the top party planner in all of Atlanta. Trip promoter, trip creator, trip advisor. She's the full customer experience specialist of the Southeast right here. And we're here talking about, I've known her for like 20 years, so we're just joking. We're talking about what we would have done differently at 20 based on what we know now at 40 plus. Now I know it's hard to believe she looks like she's 19. You know what I'm saying? I checked ID, but so like, what would you change?
What would I change?
About yourself, based on what you know now at 40?
Based on what I know. Okay, so I don't know that I would necessarily change anything. I would adjust and do things a little bit differently. For the most part, I would definitely probably have gone to therapy 20 years ago versus waiting until I'm 40, right? Only because the one thing, like, I have a son, my baby is 22. And not that I regret having him when I did, I just regret not having the resources that I have today to be able to pour into him just a little bit differently. That's one thing that I would change for sure.
Nice.
But
what do you miss about the old you at 20 years old?
Oof.
Let's throw out the responsibility and accountability. What do you miss about 20?
Ooh. I was able to just be me, be free, and not care about the results, the outcome. Like, it's, again, getting better, getting wiser, getting healthier, that comes with great responsibility, right? You have to be accountable. You said the big A word, you got to be accountable. Back in my 20s, I didn't care about no accountability. I did what I did, I said what I said, and that was it. I didn't care about the blowback. I didn't care about who was affected. I didn't care about any of those things. It was just about me, what I wanted. That was it.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You have fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the biggest difference between you at 20 or 30 and you now at 40?
I'm grown now. I turned 40. So first of all,
you feel good about it?
Yeah. First of all, when I turned 30, I was like, oh, I'm grown. I turned 40 and I was like, no, baby, you are grown now. So I'm still me. I'm still Keyz. As you know, we were talking earlier, like, Keyz still a little spicy, but it just takes me a little bit longer to get to that level of spice. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still who I am. I'm still gonna ride for my people. I'm still gonna go hard for, everything that I love, everybody that I love. But I do it a little differently now, a little wiser, a little bit more mature, right? I'm still gonna get the same result. That's what I had to learn. I still get the same results, but I just gotta be a little smarter.
Is it more distance? Is it about like putting more distance between you and your friends, your associates, putting a little more privacy in your life? Would you say, or you still open?
No, I'm still, because I'm the glue, as people have described.
That's very true.
So I'm still very open to bringing people in. Now I just got to a place in my life where I don't keep people that ain't supposed to be. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm a little bit quicker where I'd be like, okay, well, you belong over here. You don't belong in this space. I still have my core people, but aside from that, everybody can't get over here. Before, I would mix everybody. I've learned,
tight circle.
Yeah, I have learned you don't keep people where they don't belong. If they don't belong there, that's friends, family, relationships, any of those things. If they don't belong in that space, you gotta pick up on that cue quickly and move them to the side, and that's it. And be okay with it.
That's true.
Be okay with it.
Now, I've known Keyz a long time, right? She's honest. This is why I'm gonna come straight with the questions.
Oh boy.
Dating at 20 versus dating at 30 versus dating at 40.
Yeah.
Give me the snapshots of how that went and how that's going.
Yeah. So again, dating at 20, even in my early 30s, I was prone to keep people in spaces that they didn't belong in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you learn, like, okay, life is short. It's short and long at the same time. So you can't waste time with having people in spaces that they don't belong in. I'm very I have a big light. You know that, Dre. You know that about me. Like, I have a big light. So a lot of people will naturally just draw to me, and I have to be careful of that. Be careful of the energy that people try to take from you. So, like, dating, you know, people are selfish. So they're just going to take till they can't anymore. So now I've gotten comfortable enough in myself where I'm okay with saying, nah, you're not taking no more. And you got to go over there. Nice. Before, I was very... I was just okay with just dealing with whatever people would give me just to have somebody, just for the sake of being. Even though in the back of your head, you kind of know sometimes it's not right, it's not good, it's not healthy, but you still like, oh, well, you know.
Overcommit.
Yeah. I made a vow to myself 2 years ago that I was no longer overcommitting and overextending.
Yeah.
That's, you know, that's it. It's you meet me here and we could, you know, do this together, but I'm no longer... Because I'm the glue, so I'm always trying to extend and pull,
always trying to lift somebody up.
Yeah, always. Yeah. So now I'm still lifting. I ain't out here bashing people. Like, I'm not out here bashing.
Not yet.
No. I can't.
Don't take it for granted. Yeah. She might start.
Yeah, like, look, we talked about this earlier. Don't mess with me. I won't mess with you, and I just stay in my little lane, you know? So.
I mean, at this age, you think, like, at 40, I know a lot of times we think people are going to change. You know, you see potential in people, and like in the 20s, you're cloudy. It's everything's all good. In your 30s, you kind of stretch and dream a little bit. Is it safe to say, meeting somebody in their 40s and dating, you accept them for who they are more so now than ever before? Like, you just kind of, regardless of what they say they can change, you just assume that they can at this point. If they've been doing it 40 years, they're not changing.
Come fully potential.
Okay.
I'm not doing potential.
You don't have time to play build a man?
I'm not doing that. You have to come potential. Okay. Meaning that how you come to me today, I'm fully accepting who you are. That means that you're fully potential. That means that I'm not saying you come potential based on my standards. You come fully potential. If this is who you are, then it's up to me to decide whether or not you fit over here, and vice versa. Like, I'm not about changing anybody. People don't change. People don't change. Never. Their stripes don't change. People don't change. People are who they are. So it's up to me and the person I'm dating to decide on whether or not what I'm bringing to the table, they accept, and vice versa. If you decide that you're not accepting of that, that's okay. Let's be adults about this. Have conversations. None of that long drawn. Like, we're not.
Yeah, that's 40 plus.
Plus, not just we're 40. Like, who has the? So no, I'm not dating. I don't date potential. Like, I don't date like, oh, this could be a really good guy if they do this or if they do that. No.
So who they are right now either works for you or it doesn't.
It doesn't, and if it doesn't, then it just doesn't. Like, I get like, I believe that everybody, especially at this age, right? We've experienced a lot of different people, how they love, how they receive love. So it's really up to us to, okay, this is how I need love. This is how I show love. Do they fit? Yes or no? That's it. If they don't fit, like, if they don't fit, there's no force in it. That's how people get broken, you know? You're trying to fit squares into circles, and like, it don't make sense, and you're chipping away at each other, and that's why we got a lot of unhealed people out here trying to date. But that's all.
No, that's perfect. That's a perfect segue. So, I mean, you hear a lot. I see a lot of people online about like expectations, preferences. Mm-hmm. Man has to have this and that. Men over here saying women need to know how to do this and that. Mm-hmm. What do you think about all that? I mean, I understand preferences. Everyone can have their preferences.
Everybody has preferences. Yeah.
Do you draw the line somewhere? Are you open to people, or do you have hard definites that need to be in play? Like, you know, make this amount of money.
Yeah.
Have a house. Have this. Have that.
Yeah.
Have a career. Or are you flexible in any of those areas? Because it just seems like everybody's dreaming. They want everything.
So, well, first of all, I feel like it's a defense mechanism that people are using. What they feel like you got to have all these things. It's because you're walking around guarded with your defense stuff. But that's a whole nother topic.
No, go into it.
So, all right. So, yes, I have preferences. Now, at this age, I have talked to a lot of different people and encountered different people. And so what I have found for me is not, so I always want to talk about this. People are always talking about women being gold diggers, right? So for me, and I'm talking about me because you know me, right?
Yeah.
We talked about this. I'm 40. I own 2 homes.
Yeah.
I can't deal
She's
with.
doing her thing out here, y'all. She don't need.
I'm trying. I need something and somebody, but I'm trying. So the thing is, like, because I travel a lot. I do a lot on my own. I've finessed myself, I do all the things on my own, but I need somebody that's okay with that, right? Like, I have tried to date or talk to people, not really date because there's a difference, but I've talked to people who are not really where I am. They're not really established or whatever. They have things going on, which we all do. Everybody goes through their stuff or whatever. And I find that there's a little, not jealousy, but there's a little something. I don't know what the thing is. There's a little something that you kind of hear it in how the man might talk to you or their tone, where they're like,
wait, jealous of you? Like,
yeah, like you got a little bit too much for me. So what? For me, I have to be careful of people that are not where I'm at or above me, because the men, and this is me not throwing shade or anything like that, men, they tend to try to bring a woman down. That's like been verbally, my experiences.
If they feel insecure about who that woman is versus where they are.
A man who is insecure in his finances, insecure in his emotional state, insecure in his mental well-being, all the LYs or the leads, as I call them, emotionally, physically, financially, all the leads.
That's the next episode.
Yeah, all the leads. If they're not stable in those areas, they naturally, and it might not be intentionally, they will do little things to try to bring somebody down.
Can I have an example? I mean, names can be changed to protect the innocent.
But so I dated a guy for a few months. We were dating for a few months, and he was not sound in all the leads. I won't say what leads.
It's the leads.
He was not sound in all of the leads, and so it became like a kind of a battle, like almost low key, like, oh, you think you're better than me, huh?
He would say it like,
no. It was in his actions, right? Oh. So it would become in his action. It would become the way he would talk to me, the way he would respond to me, and I'm like, where's this coming from? Like, what's happening right now, right? But it took for me to get out of it to realize, like, oh, okay, I saw what was happening there. It was, and I was a little bit older, so I was a little bit older than him. It was like, it's natural for people to do it. It's not just men. Women do it too. If they're not secure in a certain area or space, they will nitpick those areas and other people to try to bring them down. It's an insecurity.
And make it seem like those are your issues.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So what's the word for it when basically when they're projecting? They start projecting their own stuff onto you. And so it got to the point where I was like, do you like me or not? Like, what is happening?
Do you even like me?
Right, do you even like me? Like, so it got to that point. I was like, okay, I see what's happening. You actually don't like me. And it's starting to come out and show. And again, I don't know if it was you didn't like me because of what I represented, but it was like, okay, sir. So I need somebody that's on my level or higher. But also, you have to also be careful when you go higher as well, right? Because then people will
they'll use
talking down to you, getting crazy and trying to manipulate.
Yeah.
You know me. It's not gonna work.
It's
not gonna fly. So it's a delicate. So I'm flexible on preferences. I don't have many preferences, but I've also been tapped on my shoulder about God a few times about those said preferences.
Really?
Because he basically said to me, stop putting me in a box. We talked about I have an older son, so I don't want nobody with younger children.
Yeah, that was my thing.
When he tapped when I tell you he tapped dance on my head and was like, why are you putting me in this box? Why are you telling me what you can't do?
You right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I was just like, okay, I'm not advertising that I want anybody with small children, but I'm also not going to
not gonna push it away.
Yeah, and I did. I did. I connected with this guy one time. He was like, he had 3 small ones, and I was like, the youngest
for me
was The youngest was my grandbaby's age. Don't tell nobody that part. So I was just
how old was dude?
We were the same age.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they just started young. We were the same age.
Okay.
And like, I was like, oh, you really seem like a great guy, but I don't think this is gonna work. Shut it down, like, right?
You was out of there?
Out of there. When I tell you, like, less than 30 days later, the Lord tap dance all on my head. It was like, what are you doing right now? Like,
wow, pushing away blessings.
Because he could have been, you know what I'm saying? It really could have been my blessing. And here I am talking about what I'm not gonna do to God, right? Like, who am I? So, again, not advertising for anybody with small children, but also not going to shut it down. Used to have a preference about, you gotta be 6 feet tall. You gotta
she loved it. She wanted the tall brother.
Yeah. I mean, my son is 6'2". So
he's tall.
If I look at, when I look, I'm looking at somebody that's smaller than my son. I had a complex about it.
My son can knock him out.
Right?
My son can take him out.
I had a complex about it, but again,
can't even tell my son to go to his room. He might choke him out.
Right.
But no.
So I had to get over that too. So now my things are more characteristic preferences. Who you are at the core, who you are, like just your being, right? So it's beyond that. So you could maybe be 5'9", maybe 5'8". No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But you know what I mean.
I know.
I had characteristic preferences. Now I'm like
5'10" or above. Still, that's what she said at least.
I mean, again, back to the not advertising for no small children, but I'm also not going to block my blessing. So,
I mean, you mentioned before, right? And I wanted to get to that too, where you were talking about somebody that was pulling you down because they were insecure. Mm-hmm. You know, in all your success and your daily efforts. For somebody that may be going through that, like, how did you get out of that? How do you remove yourself from a situation once you realize that? Or recognize it.
Yeah, it took
like
a lot.
what are some of the signs to know right away, recognize the jealousy? What should they do communication wise?
Yeah.
As a next step, and how should they get out of there? It doesn't get any better.
Backhanded compliments are the number one. So when I say backhanded compliments, oh, you all right? You think you all that? Oh, you good? You know, like you know what? I'll think of an example so you have a good one. But you know what a backhanded compliment sounds like, what it looks like. So you gotta just like pay attention. Again, you pay attention on how they talk to you and then how they talk about themselves, the people around them, how they talk about their parents, their relationships with their friends, their kids. You could kind of hear and pick up on those things. It was hard. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and hold you and tell you it wasn't. It was hard because I really genuinely thought we had a really good connection. But then again, usually hindsight is 20/20, so you get out of it and you're like, damn, the writing was all on the wall. So, and it may be the same for men, I can't speak to it, but for women, we have this innate thing that we can tell certain things.
Nah, we're blind. Men, we don't see nothing. Till it's over. It's a crash.
Until it's over, then you're like, damn.
How could this happen?
Yeah. So for me, the other commitment that I made to myself on not overextending myself is I made a commitment that I don't have to stick around to figure out what that thing is. God will say it's something. I don't have to stick around to figure out what that something is. I was bad about, let me see what that something is. Maybe it might be workable. No. So if I ever got myself into a situation, it was because I allowed it. I ignored what I saw. I ignored the signs. Not everybody is walking around with walking red flags. Like, let's start there, right? So if we focus on the green flags, worry about the other stuff. You can focus on the good stuff, the positive stuff. The other things, they'll show themselves, right? So you just got to pay attention again to how people regard you, how they talk to you. I'm big on how they regard God in their lives, right? People will tell who they are. You don't have to
give them time.
Yeah, like they will tell who they are every single time. So all you gotta do is listen, pay attention, and actually do something about what you hear, right? Like, I don't have to stick around to figure out what that thing is anymore. I used to be like, well, they seem like they're great. You could be great. You could be great. But
over there, just without me being involved in it.
That's the other thing I had to learn too, Dre. Like, I had to learn that, like, just because I'm a good woman and you're a good man don't mean that we're good for each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you might be ready for love, you might not be ready for my love. You know what I'm saying? Everybody loves differently. Everybody receives and gives love differently. So you could be ready for it, but are you ready for me and my love and what, you know what I'm saying?
I haven't heard it that way. I haven't heard anybody break it down.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, because like my love might be too intense for you, or it might not be intense enough. You know what I mean? So, you know, just because you're ready for something don't mean, you know.
That's what you're going to be a part of.
Yeah. So that's why I was saying earlier, like you let people show who they are, and then you decide whether or not it fits for you. You don't let other people decide if their love, like you can't come and tell me like, no, my love is for you. No. Let me decide that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, you need to feel it.
Let me decide that. You don't get to decide for me. I don't get to decide for you. And I also don't get to tell you to adjust your love for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, or how you love. I don't get to do that. We either see if it fits. If it does, great. If it doesn't, that's fine.
That's a rare perspective.
And then we just kind of adjust and tweak from there. Because we're blessed, bro. Like, we got stuff. Everybody's got stuff, right? So you just have to figure out if you're okay with that stuff. And then you navigate that stuff. That's it. Like, you don't get to say, well, let's take away your stuff and I'm gonna take away my stuff. Like, I don't like this over here, so I'm gonna put it over there. No. Yeah, it's not. You show up who you are, how you are, and then I get to decide. Or you get to decide. We get to.
Either works or it doesn't.
And that's it. That's it.
You're too old to make changes. I'm too old to change. I've been doing it for too long.
Yeah. And especially me, I've been single for some time now. So
and doing your thing. So you're on the move, and you don't want. If you slow down for anything, it has to be what it needs to be. Yeah. From the very beginning. I get it.
Yep.
All right. Quick question.
I feel like I need a drink after this question. Go ahead. I'm listening.
At this point in your life, what's the biggest lie you've ever been told?
From someone else?
In life, whether it's an understanding, whether it was a mindset, whether it was a lie from someone in particular, whether it was a book. Just at this point in your life, what do you think the biggest lie you've ever been told is?
This is funny, right? So me and my mom just had this conversation that I needed to be an independent woman.
Go into it. Talk about it, please.
So I ain't gonna go too far, but long story short, my mom lost her mom when she was young. And so her biggest thing was, when raising me, she didn't want me to ever have to depend on anybody or anything. I needed to know how to do it. I needed to know how to take care of it. Guess what that turned into?
What?
Hyper independence. Guess how that translates in relationships?
How?
Not well. Not well, because I am Jersey. I am single mom. I am daughter of a retired police officer now. So throw in hyper independence, and who wants to deal with that? So, not that it wasn't a lie that I didn't have to be independent. There was just no balance. My mom, and we had this discussion recently. I said, Mom, I appreciate you pouring that into me. I said, but one thing you missed was balance. And that's no shade on. She did what she did. You know what I'm saying? She did the best she could. But what I expressed to her was, I said, what you poured into me, coupled with other dynamics of my childhood, turned me into a hyper independent person. Everybody knows that that's kind of a trauma response, right? Like, for you to be hyper independent, I
don't need nothing. I don't need nobody.
And then if I ask somebody for something and they don't do it, oh my God,
that proves you right. Why you shouldn't.
Now,
exactly.
So, but it doesn't translate well in relation with a man, right? Right? It doesn't translate well. My friendships, of course, right? Like, because we can depend on Key. We got, you know what I'm saying? It's different. Yeah. But in relation,
there has to be a codependency in a relationship.
Exactly. On both sides, right? And so that's one of the other things that I'm unlearning, right? How being like, don't be so hyper. You don't have to be so hyper independent. It's fine that you have your own, but like, you don't gotta be like, because I had that I don't need no man mentality. Let me correct that. I've always said I don't need a man, I want a man. I even changed that statement because no, I do need a man, right? Because God didn't put me on this earth. He didn't put man and woman on this earth for them to be separate or, you know, you be over here, you be independent. wasn't designed that way.
Come together.
Yeah. So for a long time, it was, I don't need them, I want them. Now I've changed that perspective.
That's a real up north.
Nah, yeah. Like
for those around the world who've never dated anybody from up north, New York, New Jersey, the tri-state area, that's what you're gonna get approached with.
Yeah.
Or you'll get hit with if you approach it. I don't need a man. I heard that my whole life.
Yeah, but now you realize, like, no, sis, you need a man. Just like a man needs a woman.
Yeah.
People walk around here in front, like, if they want to, and say they don't need. No, we need.
Yeah.
We were designed to need. We were designed to be together. So yeah, that's the biggest lie. Like, you need to have your own. Cool, that's fine. But you also need to understand that it's okay to depend on the people. Learn who you can depend on, who deserves that space, and who doesn't. That's the thing that was missed. You know what I mean? Again, everything is balanced, right? You want to teach your kids, how to have good work ethic, but at the same time, it's like, let them live a little, be fun. And then you don't want them to have to work all their lives, and you end up spoiling them and creating monsters. So everything is
a hard balance.
Yeah, everything's fine. And I think that's the one thing we miss, right? So this guy.
Wow. That's the biggest dog I've ever seen.
He's not that big. He's only
trying to tell me he doesn't bite.
70 pounds.
He don't bite. I'm like, yeah, right.
But now he tap dancing.
He's a pit bull, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man,
Yeah.
Last question.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time to do this.
Of course.
Especially the independence part.
Yeah.
You lean right into it.
I did.
Okay. So now at 40, and I said 40 plus. Just a plus. I was trying to get the plus off. It's like 40. So now at 40 plus, what would you say the highlight is? To anybody that's 35, it's like, oh my God, I'm gonna be 40 in 5 years.
Yeah.
What's the it's gonna be okay mission statement on this one? What's the elevator pitch for the positives of being 40 plus? For you anyway at this point.
It gets better. It gets better.
It's not a negative?
It gets better. So again, I told you I thought I was grown at 30. Then I got 40 and I was like, oh no, sis, you grown now, for real. And then I have older friends too. So they're like, no, but you really don't get grown till you're 50, right? So every 10 years, they're like, but for me, I feel like I literally just continue just to get better. And that's not me like flexing or none of it. It's literally understanding like you're evolving. It's okay to evolve. Like,
is your mindset?
Yeah, like everything about me has evolved in the last 10 years. Like, again, we've known each other for a long time. So
you've always had it together. You've always been a responsible person. I was the idiot. You know what I'm saying? But you've always had that. I don't know.
Right. That's the independence we talk about.
Now that you mentioned it, I paused. I was like,
yeah, because who gonna do it for me?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and I had a kid. Like,
it's like, yo, you need help with those bags? It's like, I don't need no help. I'm like, you got 40 bags in this trunk. I got it.
Who gonna do it? Because again, for me, if I and it's a trauma response, right? Like, so I'll go to my dynamic with my father, right? Like, my biggest pet peeve with people is a result of what I dealt with him. Telling me you're going to do something and don't do it. It is the end of the world for me. Because first of all, I don't ask. I hardly ask. I'm not trained to ask. And then I ask and you don't do, or you volunteer and don't do, it's the end of the world for me. You might as well just like go tell me to go play in traffic somewhere. And
it's over.
That's over. Trauma response. But so for me, like, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not asking.
How would a man know that though? Piggybacking on that though. So given that being your mindset or you being hyper independent, how would a man that just meeting you for the first time know to ask you those questions, to ask probing questions, to get to the bottom of that hyper independence and tailor or cater to it a certain way?
Yeah.
Maybe have to know that you have to deliver something. If you say something small, like I'll be there at 1.
Yeah.
That means something to a man. We're like, who cares? I was
5 minutes
an hour late. I'm still here. I'm here now.
Be an hour late and all kind of responses gonna kick in. It's gonna trigger me in a way that
the average man, we won't know. We'll think it's petty. How do we get to
one thing about me is because I know that I am a little complex, I share.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? I'm very open about, not with everybody. if I feel like we're going somewhere and I feel like we have some potential, I'm gonna have that conversation with you. Like, look, this is who I am. This is how I am. I'm very open and direct about like me, my expectations, and that's kind of one of them. Like, just be who you are. Tell me who you are. Show me who you are. And stick to the script. Like, don't go on. Yeah, don't go off script. You go off script. Hey, now I'm looking at you real sideways. So, but I'm very open because I not a lot of. It's unfortunate, but a lot of people, especially women, haven't done the work to figure out who they are and why they are the way they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've done that work. I've done the work to say, all right, Kiana, let's see what's really happening with you. Let's start peeling back these layers to understand like who you are, why you respond the way you respond. Why is it so catastrophic that somebody's an hour late? Why is it the end of the world if somebody says they're going to do something and don't do it? Why? It took for me to go through therapy to understand like, oh, it's a trauma response.
Peeling back the layers, wow.
Yeah. So a lot of reasons why like a lot of relationships are not surviving today is one, people are not taking the time to understand who they are, why they are that way, and then fixing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are doing the work. They're like, oh, I'm that way? Fine. All I have to do is tell you I'm this way because of. But then they're not doing, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm acting this way because this is what happened to me. It's like, okay, so what are you doing to
No,
get
you have to adjust.
Nah.
You got to adjust to why I'm acting this way because I'm acting this way. Like, no.
I had an elder tell me 2 halves don't make a whole in a relationship.
Facts.
It was like 2 halves make a whole in any other scenario, but in a relationship, you need to be whole and that person needs to be whole before you're able to come together.
Yep. One thing I'll touch on that. One thing that I learned about wholeness too is that we're not always going to be 100% whole. You're always going to have a moment where a piece of you you're going to pull back a layer and you're going to realize like, oh, maybe I'm not really healed and whole in that area, right? It takes what they call the shadow work for you to be in relation with somebody to understand like you're always going to be triggered about something, how you deal with those triggers, understanding where those triggers are coming from, and then going from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, my biggest thing is you got to come home or at least halfway there. Doing the work to be whole, doing the work to be healthy, doing the work to be safe. A lot of people out here that are unhealthy, unwhole, unsafe. And there's no room for me in those spaces.
So what do they need to do then?
You got to talk to the lady. You need to go on and talk to the lady, the man, whoever it is. You need to go on and talk to him and then do the work with whatever information that you get out of talking to them. People, again, they're not doing the work. They're having the conversations. They're finally finding out the whys. And then they just go, okay, well, this is why. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that ain't good enough. That's not it. No.
But that's what people are, or they're using it to manipulate situations even further.
Which we see that a lot, yeah.
So there's that. But you gotta talk to somebody. I don't care if you felt like you've never been through a thing in your life. You have to talk to somebody.
And somebody. I know people that always, I'm not going to a therapist, and I'm like, you have a grandmother, you have a great grandmother, you have a great grandfather, you have. Go to an elder, somebody that knows you. If you don't feel comfortable talking to a stranger, so to speak.
Yeah.
You have people in a family that know you, that don't necessarily need to hear your story. They just want to hear you tell us about what you've seen that the family thinks you haven't seen.
Yeah.
And they know the stories behind that. They know the characters involved.
Yeah.
Just open up.
Yeah. Elders are great. It's great because they give you a different insight, but you got to talk to somebody that's trained and unbiased, because what happens is you'll find that the more you talk about your situations, your life, you talk through it, you start understanding for yourself. Let me tell you something, my therapist don't tell me nothing. You hear me? She let me do all the talking.
I bet.
And she be like, you can tell.
She's got something to say.
Yeah, but I could always tell when I'm getting close to unlocking something, because she'll just kind of sit back and go, like, just interesting kind of thing, right? Because she's like, she can see the wheels turning in my head, so she's like, okay, she navigates. You got to get somebody that navigates, not somebody that want to drive. That's not going to help you. She's a navigation system. She's like, all right, tap into that a little bit more.
Because you're analytical as it is. So
very.
That's why she probably, okay.
She like, tap into that a little bit. You might uncover something and then you'll unlock another surface. And I feel like the older you get, the more you're going to go through. So you're always going to have something that you have to work through. You don't just buy a car and drive it to the ground, right? You take it and get maintenance. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you go and if you want to keep that car running and sufficient for you, you go and get it
daily
maintained.
Yeah.
So do the same thing with your well-being. Do the same thing with your mental health.
Yeah.
Like
mind, body, and spirit. You have to stay fresh. Always. Yeah. So peeling back layers, growth sounds to me like the learning is just beginning. Always. Yeah. It doesn't end at 40.
That's why I said I turned 40 and I got grown for real because it really started. So things really started like turning on and off, right? Unlearning things that those little lies that you were told growing up and the fairy tales and, all the things. So
you always keep it real. You sit on honest to God truth.
I don't know how to lie. My face won't, let me. I'd be like, yeah.
Thank you, Keyz. 40 by nature.
Back in my day.